Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Friday afternoon Zoom. It's been a week of chaos. We've got Luna imploding, Bitcoin going down, USDT threatened briefly. We're going to talk about all those things. Let's start with Luna. Let's get the max pain out of the way first. So share my screen. And you guys should be seeing my Luna day chart.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We were talking a little bit earlier about this, and yes, there's multiple zeros in front of Luna. As you can see, this, in April was trading well over $100. And then it was kind of battling between 80 and 100, in this range, and then just fell off the cliff. Now, the CryptNation guys went over this in some detail. It's not hard to find information on this. I'm not going to go over it, step by step, but the Luna or the Terra Luna project has an association with the UST stablecoin, and through an attack or God knows what, that stablecoin started losing its peg to the dollar, and then the project had to sell Luna, and everyone started dumping Luna, and it dumped to the point where it got kicked off Bybit. I tried to, a lot of this in here are in the carbon program. That trade liquidated. I bought some on the way down, like at around 30, 20, 15, even as low as 345, and all that's practically worthless now. So there are some plans to reboot the system. Do Kwon, the leader, posted some, like a game plan that was kind of weak on details, but that's in here in the TradingView news if you want to check it out. There's an interesting article here about Mark Cuban. This one's kind of interesting too, about restarting the blockchain. So in this, I think, kind of bled into Bitcoin and the whole market overall. It tanked. Everything went down by 20, 30, 40%. Some of the gaming tokens did okay, but Bitcoin and Ethereum got hammered. We'll look at those shortly. But yeah, the Luna thing was a real mess, and I've never seen anything like it. I've been in crypto on a daily basis for 2.5 years. I've seen some 50, 60% drops in a day, but nothing like this. This is just epic drop. Yeah, Andre posts, never seen a worse chart in his life. Yeah, me neither. So I'm hoping to get my Luna off Bybit someday and into my Exodus wallet, but for the moment it's kind of stuck there, and we'll see if what Luna does in the future. But right now it's pretty grim. So.
Excuse me, CJ, was that a spot buy you bought for that? For the Luna?
The spot buy?
The spot buy or leverage buy?
I did a spot buy on Bybit. I have some money in the spot account in case I need it to move to a leverage account, to save something.
You just bought the coins.
Correct. With the intention of moving it and then holding it.
Right.
We're in, I discussed on Monday, when the fear and greed index is this low, this is usually the time to stock up and start to fill your bags. It's not really how I trade. I've said many times that I really only have bags of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and everything else I trade. So, but I thought this would be a good time to buy some more. So I picked up some Matic and Solana and some things like that. But the biggest one I bought, it wasn't a huge amount, but it was Luna, and that's now pretty much worthless. So that's disappointing. But we'll see. I'm curious to see what they do to bring it back. But again, on the swing trade and the hodl side, which we don't discuss a whole lot on my program, but when we have extreme fear, this is usually the time to buy such things. That's also the contrarian in me. I like going against the grain, which is why I mostly trade the dips. Okay, so any Any questions on Luna or anything else before we move on? Got a
Yeah,
list of
I
things
could
wanna
just
cover.
add a small piece of information from Binance, because Binance, of course, also shut them down from Luna. And so Binance doesn't normally come out with an opinion statement, but they did on this, and they're really upset because a lot of other people have had problems in the past, but have communicated with them apparently. And Luna has basically from communicating with Binance. So they
Interesting.
are really fed up with them and disappointed, and waiting to see what happens. Anyway, that's it. Just a little aside.
Luna's like that that bad girlfriend who makes you try to figure out when something's wrong. I don't know why that
Yeah.
random thought popped in my head, but anyway. But thanks for sharing that about Binance. That's just a really bad business move. It's the largest exchange in the world.
Yeah, well, right. So that's kind of what they're saying. They're like, look, other people have had problems and they communicate with us, and we go, yeah, okay, we get it. And what's your plan? And we'll work with you.
Mm-hmm.
But they just dropped off the map altogether.
Wow, that's awful.
Yeah.
And Andre's
well,
asking.
I imagine it would have been pretty financially devastating for the owners and founders and Luna or at Terra as well. So they're probably trying to deal with their own misfortune.
Yeah, this might have been something even more involved than a hack or something like that usually drops something maybe significantly double digits, but this was something on another level. Maybe that's why they were so like
it was the evidence. Well, it's looking like it was a concerted plan to bring them down, and it was a threefold. The article I read was a threefold plan.
Okay.
That brought down. Part of it was to bring down Bitcoin as well.
Tether.
So that
or USDT.
No, it's to bring. Yeah, it was USD, UST.
UST.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bitcoin, and it was to bring the price of Bitcoin down as well, because that would help crash the Luna thing.
Right. Because
and there was an attack. What's the staking site? There was an attack on that as well. So that was the third side.
Oh, Gemini, Genesis, one of those.
Gemini or Genesis, one of those. Yeah, it was an attack on as well.
Okay.
So yeah, and the owner of Terra did a bit of a backdoor deal with someone, and so a big thing didn't go through, and it reduced their liquidity, and it was that reduced liquidity plus the other things is what caused it to crash.
All right.
Well,
yeah,
Janet Yellen got on the TV and held it up as an example why the government needs more regulations.
Yeah, nothing like a good crypto scandal to get the government, waving their fingers. And
I think they were involved. BlackRock, Citadel, they're all in cahoots.
They hate the stable coin so much. So, staking a stable coin, for 10, 20% APY. Yeah, they don't want anything to do with that. So it wouldn't surprise me. That is one of the downsides of crypto, can't be manipulated. So you just got to be careful out there. But this was a real black swan event. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. And quickly, Andre's asking, was Luna derivatives delisted? Well, I bought, like I told Craig, I bought mine on the spot portion, and it's gone from there too. I mean, it's still in my wallet on Bybit, but I can't do anything with it. It won't let me move it anywhere. So we'll see if that changes in the future. All right, let's move on. The next thing on my list to talk about is USDT, because it was threatened too. USDT or Tether is our main stable coin. And as you can see, this kept me up on I think Wednesday night. It dropped all the way down to 94 cents. We do think this was an attack of some kind, but the configuration of Tether is very different than UST. It bounced back pretty quickly. My understanding is that it's backed by, dollars, cryptos, some debt instruments and things like that. And it's by far the most widely used trading stablecoin. I know I have quite a bit of it myself. So I also use it in some of my investments. So I was really, really upset when I heard it had the potential to lose its peg too. So, I moved some things around, but I didn't do too much, but it came back pretty quickly. Yesterday it was around 0.99, I think 6 or 7, and today's it's pretty much normal, 0.998. It's even a little bit over 1 briefly. So it seems to be back in good shape. Whether it'll be threatened again by people dumping it or whatever crypto mischief one can do to mess with the stable coin like this, I don't know, but it's something to be concerned about. I've heard that USDC is probably a better, more stable coin, but anyway, for now, I think Tether is good. Any questions or comments on Tether?
Again, something I read about Tether was that the amount of money required, or the amount of investment required to crash it is so huge that it's very unlikely.
Yeah, something like $1 billion, or maybe it's multiple billions, caused it to move this far. But how many billions is one going to risk to mess with the stable coin? So, and see how fast it.
Yeah, and in reality, that's not a very big move. I mean, it's a big move for a stable coin, but it recovered very quickly. So yeah, the amount of money you'd need to disrupt it is quite huge. Doesn't mean they can't do it though.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else on this before we look at Bitcoin, which is how we usually start this program? So, all right. And good old Bitcoin. Let's go to the day chart. And it's kind of messy. Let's get rid of divergence. Maybe just all the stuff. So I had drawn range, structures in here the last few weeks, months even, and clearly fell out of those. It does seem to be holding 30K. I mean, we were down to as low as like 26.7 yesterday, but we did have a nice recovery yesterday and today. And we're currently over 30,000. And as you can see from my list here, the altcoins have reacted pretty well to this stabilization of Bitcoin. I'm hoping this is the floor. Wouldn't surprise me if we drop down to 25 over the weekend or even on Monday. So as we talked about many times, this show's on a Friday. We tend to have lower volume over the weekends. So I'm looking mostly for shorts, but I do have a few longs that I'm looking for as well. We'll go over those shortly, but we talked already quite a bit, and the guys went over it on CryptNation yesterday, and Kevin and Carbon has done the same over why Bitcoin has had such a large drop in the last few months. From the high in November to yesterday, 60% drop. We have the international incidents, the war in Ukraine, the Fed raising interest rates, crazy inflation that I've never seen. I sort of remember the 80s, but my rent went up 300 or 30%. That alone should cause waves of wreckage throughout the economy. But so that sucks. And fast food's over $10 a meal now, so these things affect me. But and it's also bled into the overall markets on the stock side, and regrettably Bitcoin is seemingly tagged to the NASDAQ, and and that's been taking a beating as well. So, you know, that in a few sentences, it's a really broad explanation for why Bitcoin's dropping. Hoping the floor is at 30, we can bounce back from that. So, any questions or comments about Bitcoin? Okay, we'll look at Ethereum real quick. Usually look at the 4-hour on this. It dropped all the way down to 1800. On the plus side, I did pick up some more Ethereum and Bitcoin at pretty good prices. So that's what I'm going to try to do from now on when we have these big drops. So we got down here down to 1800. So over 2000 now. 2000 is hopefully the floor for Ethereum, as we hope 30,000 is the floor for Bitcoin. So anything on Bitcoin and Ethereum before we move to Altcoin Alert? All right. Poor Simone is thinking, why am I joining this? I could have heard all this general stuff elsewhere.
No, it's all good.
All right. Yeah, Andre and I are the same age. All right, he's got a cool comment in the chat, but I'm not going to go over it now because I want to get over to Altcoin Alert. All right, here's how I look at Altcoin Alert. I like the altcoin radar setting. I think the dashboard is too brief, so I want all the information. And I've got easy mode off. I'm going to reload, make sure we're current. And the first thing I want to look at is the altcoin, is the AA score. Brief review, the AA score really has little to nothing to do with the rest of these values. Here's the description here if you hover over this little question mark. But essentially it tells us that, let's use sand as an example. I've got this chart handy. Sand has an 83.4% chance to go up 3% or higher the next 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours. So with that in mind, I'm going to look for a good entry point. I'm not just going to blindly jump into sand. I want a good place to go. So I've got my trend-based chart. This is different than the charts we were looking at earlier with Bitcoin and Ethereum that I'm looking for dip trades. With this, I want to catch the trend, and I want to catch a solid trend. So I'm on the 1 hour on the sand chart. So this is trading view. You've got your indicators here. This is my favorite trend-based indicator. It's called the Chandelier Exit. I've been using it most of this calendar year, a little bit last year. Type in Chandelier here. The one by Everget, has 4,300 downloads, so it's pretty popular. And I like it because it's alert friendly. You can right click on here, add an alert on the Chandelier Exit, and buy or sell, or if you're new, you're probably trading spots, so all yours are going to be buys. Some of us are more experienced. We're trading leverage, so we're going to buy or sell, meaning short or long. So on this one, if you want to set an alert on it to wait for it comes out of this dip and starts to trend back up, you got your alert CE buy here in the drop-down menu. I like to use once per bar close. Sometimes these will repaint, they'll flicker if the candle hasn't closed. So I want to make sure the candle closes and gives me the information I want. So and then I give the alert a name. I like to put the AA scores in here. So 83.7 or whatever it was. Then you click create, and that is your Chandelier Exit. And that should give you probably a 60% better entry than using and then just jumping into a trade blindly. So when this curves back up and gives me a buy signal, I'm also going to match it up against some of these other indicators. Now, I'm not going to necessarily recommend, this one here. This is a volume indicator. I just added it today. I haven't used it long enough to recommend. But the RSI, the relative strength index and the MFI, the money factor index, money flow index, are indicators I've used for, for you, well, RSI for years, MFI about a year. So I do like these. So if I get trending up here on the MFI, if the RSI is trending up as well and above this midline, this moving average, and I've got the buy signal, that's going to be a go for me, and I'll probably get in. And I'll check Bitcoin too to see what it's doing, but that's how I use my my trend-based alert. And usually when I'm using these, it's because I don't trust dips. I'm afraid it's going to dip and keep dipping. So I want the trend better identified. The downside is your entries aren't as good. If you're dip trading, you catch that dip just right, you can really have a nice trade, get that 3 to 5%, in a couple hours, and then be out in the same day. And those are my favorite trades. So, any questions on sand and the Chandelier indicator and all this junk you see on my chart? I am such a good teacher that Simone absorbed all this immediately. So that's really good news. I'm feeling good. So
I'm taking
Good
notes.
question, CJ. I'm sorry, Simone. Go ahead.
I'm still learning, so I'm taking notes, like with the candles and everything.
okay. All right, good for you. Also, replays are available. I'll send out this, the replay connection to the YouTube video, and you can look at that too. At the risk of being presumptuous, like you'd want to see me twice in one day. But all right, so yeah, that's a good approach.
What are the blue and red waves on your candles?
Good eye, Oliver. That is the BJ superscript. And I've only been using this a short time. It's another trend indicator. And again, I haven't used it long enough to discuss it. So that's why I omitted it. But, there's all kinds of trend indicators. You could add like a half trend or a super trend, but this is the one I've got, this one here, Bjorgum superscript.
Your superscript.
So yeah, the idea is to have multiple confirmations of your decision to make a trade. So you don't just blindly buy, sell, on the Chandelier Exit or any other indicator. It's usually good to match up multiples. So, all right. Any other questions on sand?
Nope.
All right. Let's look at, let's see, Altcoin Alert. Well, let's do the other sort I like to do. That's the long-term sentiment sort. So I'm going to click on here. That actually refreshes when you do that. And I'm looking for the long-term sentiment is the word on the street, the Twitter information. You can hover over this to get a better explanation. But it's comparing the Twitter data from the last 24 hours to the last 20 days. So if it's bullish on that and bullish on the daily Elder Impulse, which is a technical indicator, similar to the MACD, then that's something worthy of further investigation. But the problem is all the dailies here are bearish. So we've got no matches here. But in light of the current recovery from Bitcoin from 27 to 30, and the fact that most of the altcoins are seeing this and going, cool, let's buy those, and those have gone up nicely today, I've been thinking of bending my rule a little bit. I'm looking at bullish long-term sentiment and bullish on the hourly. I mean, I'm a day trader anyway, but hourly trades are even better. Fast is good. So if I got bullish on the long-term sentiment and bullish on the hourly, there's a few of those. And we can tell that one of them, DOT, it's had a nice move today, 30%. We should probably look into that. So leave sand, go to DOT on my list. All right, again, I'm on the hour chart because I'm looking for a solid, well-established trend. Yeah, like here on this buy one here would have intrigued me at the time. Probably picked up, you know, a quick 5% in you know, in an hour. I love that. So, and as you can see, I've got my blue here, my buy signal, my RSI is above the moving average. This would have been green here, and my MFI is trending up. So that's an entry. And then I maybe use my SMA line here, or this little pocket of resistance to determine my exit. Actually, this one here, and then that's how and usually on an AA score or a long-term sentiment, I'm looking for about 3 to 5%, the max. So I'm hoping that had I done that, I would have gotten out right about here, but it's possible I just would have missed it. And then it comes back and catches it a few hours later. Or if I was greedy and maybe looked at this pocket of resistance as my guide, you know, I'd still be in that trade. But most likely I would have adjusted it. If something goes for a day or longer and I don't get out of it, I usually bring down the value. And actually in this situation, I probably would have ladder bought too, and then gotten out, you know, a couple days later. So right now it's in a buy cycle, but we're way too late. I mean, this printed yesterday at 7 a.m. So what I usually do in this situation is I'll right click on here, do an alert on a buy. I call this a long-term sentiment sort. And then I'm good to go. And what'll happen is it'll be something like this. It'll buy, and then the sell will print, and it'll dip some, and then the buy will print again. So what I'm trying to do is catch this on the buy, because I'm too late for this buy signal. It's already printed now. It's already printing a red band, so it might drop, get a sell signal, go down a little bit, and then start to recover, and then I'll catch that buy signal. I'm not sure if I would do it on a weekend, but most likely we're going to get a buy signal later on tonight or tomorrow. So that's how I would set my alert on the Chandelier Exit for DOT on the 1 hour chart in these circumstances. And then when the alert goes off, you know, make sure I've got confirmation in my other indicators. Any questions on DOT?
What's a good entry point to buy, you think?
Well, that's what we use the indicators for in the alerts. So, you know, we're too late for this buy signal. That's from yesterday on the 1 hour chart. So I'm waiting. I just put my alert in. See, that's the alert I just put in. It's there in my alert list now. So when this drops, prints a sell, and then prints another buy, which probably won't happen till for several hours, then I'll look at the chart again. That alert will alert me to check things out. And if I like what I see, if it's confirmed by these other indicators, and if Bitcoin is stable or trending up, that's a go. So not financial advice, but that's what I would do. Don't you go trading like this, Simone, and then have a bad result and say, oh, CJ ripped me off. He's awful. So, all right. Because these other guys are saying that already, but for different reasons. But anyway, hopefully not. So that's DOT. Let's look at one more on Altcoin Alert. And let's do Robert's search. But we're not gonna look at Terra. So Robert, refresh my memory for the third time.
Yeah.
We
you
are
go to
looking
the,
for something that's beaten
the
down,
lowest-
or
beaten down, right? So
all right,
on the 24-hour change, you want the losses on top.
all right,
Biggest
very well.
losses on top.
I did that correctly.
And then look for other indicators to see if anything else looks strong then.
Yeah, there's a
within
bunch of.
those.
I've done that. There's a bunch of tokens here I've never heard of. Funfair, I think I traded that in 2020. YFI. So yeah, there's really nothing in that sort that interests me. But we'll look at something just for fun. Look at the Sky coin.
Well, maybe also because it was such a great day,
Right.
where anything good actually went up.
Right. And that happens. Sometimes I look at Altcoin Alert, I can't find anything because the market's heavy in one direction. So, but the Sky coin's down a little bit. Don't have much information on it, but I think I have traded this once, maybe. So I'm going to bail off this chart here. We don't need that anymore. Huh. It's not coming out. Sky. Might not have a USD. Okay, I'm not finding this on any exchanges. So, all right, let's look at something else. Haven, XHV. It's on KuCoin. So this would be a spot trade. We're looking for something to go long. This, I'm on the wrong chart. I want to look at. So on the hour, it printed a sell 5 a.m. It's trending down. This coincides what we looked at. So we want to catch this. This is sort of a dip trade approach, but we're using the trend to confirm. Look at some of the last few. Yeah, that one was not good. This buy signal was really good, 9–10%. So I like that. That one we picked up. We would have overlapped that one. So yeah, most of the buy signals on the 1 hour chart recently for XHV have produced, winning trades, but not everyone. Generally with indicators, the best you're going to do is, 60%, maybe 2/3. And then if it goes against you, you can either do stop loss or do an additional purchase to improve your position, what we lovingly call ladder buying. So that's, if you're interested in that procedure, go ahead and look up my videos on ladder buying. But for now, XHV, what I would do with this is put that alert on the Chandelier Exit on the buy side. And, what would we call this? So I call this Robert's 24-hour sort. But Robert,
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. Yeah, if this goes badly, talk to Robert. So
You don't know me.
All right. So that's about all I have then for potential altcoin alert trades. You can look at some of the others I didn't go over if you want, and depending on what exchanges you like to trade on, whether it's spot or leverage, the principles still apply. So any questions on altcoin alert? All right, and see, Simone, you're on my email list, right? All right. The nod of the head is sufficient, so you'll get my email probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, with the replay if you want to check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording here for the altcoin alert webinar. For those of you who joined live, I certainly appreciate you, and those of you watching on the video later today, that's good too. If you're watching on the recording, please check out the opportunities listed in the comments. They help support this channel. For the rest of you, you want to stick around for carbon, you can do that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Have a good weekend.